Around £400 is what separates these two phones, and I must say the OnePlus Nord does pose a good argument to try and justify you to save that money and go for it instead. Firstly, the hardware on the S21 Galaxy is not the best compared to the Nord, and this is surprising given the fact that this is a premium Samsung device. Now, I have to mention, yes, in some areas, of course, the Galaxy is better, but you expect that. So the reason for this comparison is to show how good these mid-range devices have got. For example, with the Nord, you're getting a glass back, premium quality finish, and overall a nicely designed phone. And just the button placing and the overall thinness, and I'll get on to the other components like the lightness, it just is a real threat to the S21 Galaxy, and it really shouldn't be. But as it is, let's do this comparison and let's see where we go. So these two phones, very light, very thin, and in the hand, both do feel fairly good. But how do they compare when you see them side by side in other areas that matter day to day? User experience is a huge part of this, and I have to say the S21 takes this, and it takes it by a long shot. In the last clip, you saw that the S21 was just breezing through the apps, whereas the Nord does show a little bit of lagginess. Now, how do I take this? I have to take this with a pinch of salt because, like I said at the start, £400 is a huge number, and it's a huge financial loss if it happens to be that the S21 is not as good or £400 more better than the Nord. So let's see in other areas such as the camera what we are going to achieve with the S21 in comparison to the Nord. Now, the quadruple setup of the OnePlus Nord's camera does have very impressive factors, and I'm going to begin with the video because perhaps the most impressive thing and underrated thing about the Nord was its video recording capabilities. This is 4K footage, 30 frames per second, recorded with the OnePlus Nord, and you can see here the footage is far better than you'd expect in this price range. However, the S21 does not do bad either, and I have done a few recordings with the S21, and with better lighting, it does kind of do better with handling detail and just capturing more in its sensor, and the overall processing just looks a lot more natural. So you can see here, this is 4K at 60 frames per second, and the detail is immensely good. However, I have to say the darkened image is consistent in both cameras. So the Nord had a slightly darker image, and so did the Samsung Galaxy S21. I wasn't sure if this was due to the dark days I'd recorded them on. However, I have to say it was a reoccurring theme with the S21. When you do give it good lighting though, it changes the whole game. Like you can see here, the game definitely changes with better lighting, much more detail, and just better colors overall, better vibrancy. Along with the pictures, there's better vibrancy, better colors, and more accurate to life images. However, the vibrancy of the saturation is still quite noticeable, and I think that's just a software issue with Samsung photos. Dynamic range is maintained at a high level, and I have to say, overall, I was very satisfied with the images from the Samsung Galaxy S21. As for the Nord, you're getting fantastic pictures. Overall, the usability of the camera is quite easy as well. And I have to say, what I was most impressed about these pictures from the Nord is the color accuracy and just the general look of the pictures and images, considering the price point of the OnePlus Nord. So I have been keeping score, and this is what I've come up with. It's a draw, but I'll explain why. So firstly, the Samsung S21 pulls ahead with its performance, and it's 120 Hz versus the Nord's 90. It just performs better day to day, and the user interface is a lot better integrated. So user experience, that's S21's. Now the build and design quality goes to the Nord. Obviously, I've explained that earlier on. And surprisingly, in the camera department, I've made it a draw for obvious reasons, because both of these can perform on their day for video and photo taking. So the last point. Now, this may come to a surprise, but I've left this to speakers and screen or display quality. And the clear winner here is the S21 for two reasons. It has a great panel, just overall colors and vibrancy are a lot better. But secondly, it's for something that's overlooked, the speakers. These are great dual firing speakers, unlike the Nord single bottom firing, and they perform the best I've tested in a mid-range to premium phone so far, and I am very impressed, and I think this will take a lot of beating. The speakers on this phone are very, very underrated, and to my surprise, they've become one of the best features on this phone. So the overall media consumption with this phone will be great, and therefore it takes the point with this department. Now that brings me to the conclusion. The Nord is a great phone for its price, yet the S21 is a great phone overall and a better one in this price range for obvious reasons too. And for me, that is a clear enough reason and a distinction for why the Galaxy S21 of this year is, of course, the better phone over the Nord. Maybe an obvious conclusion, but still worth mentioning and comparing these two phones because that's how good the OnePlus Nord is. So with that said, that's it from me and that's it from this video. I'll see you guys in the next tech moment.